Call to order the Monday, February 10th, 2025 meeting of the Ellettsville Town Council. Marshall, if you want to do the prayer.
All right, Mr. Father, we come before you this evening, and again, thank you so much for this little town. Thank you for so many blessings you bestowed on all of us here. Thank you so much for the employees that we have. We ask you to be with us tonight and make the decisions that affect us in the long term. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Chief.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call when you're ready, Noel.
Oldham.
Here.
Dan Swafford. William Ellis.
Here.
Trevor Sager.
Here.
Pamela Samples.
Approval of the minutes for the regular meeting on January 27th, 2025.
So moved.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Action to pay accounts payable, vouchers, and payroll.
So moved.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Resolutions. First resolution tonight is 04-2025, additional appropriation for vaccines.
Yes, in your packet, if you flip to the blue tab, that's where the appropriation or the resolutions will start. The red tab will be for the ordinances. This resolution is for $11,000. It is to allow us to pay for our employees to have the hepatitis vaccines that were mandated by law in order to provide our employees when they are hired. We need to go back and make sure that all of our employees are currently up to date as well. The fire chief and the police chief have worked on this together. And if you have any additional questions, the fire chief, Kevin Patton, would be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions from council? Seeing none, is there anything you want to say specific? No. Okay. Is there a motion for resolution 04-2025?
I'll make a motion for resolution 04-2025, additional appropriation for vaccines.
Second.
Motion second. Noel?
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution 08-2025, adopting stormwater standards and specifications manual.
At its final meeting of the year last year, the town council passed an ordinance, which was the Stormwater Management Construction Site Regulation Ordinance, which was required now by the state because MS4, local MS4 operators are going to be in charge of stormwater management now. And in any event, as part of that ordinance, there was language in that ordinance saying that the town would adopt a stormwater standards and specifications manual. So the purpose of this resolution is to adopt that manual. And that's the everyday nuts and bolts stormwater specifications. And Rick Kopic drafted it, I believe, in conjunction with Wessler Engineering, so thank you to both of them for doing that.
Questions from council? Comments? Questions or comments from the public on this resolution? Seeing none, back to the council for action.
Make a motion to approve resolution 08-2025, adopting stormwater standards and specifications manual.
Second.
Motion second. Noel?
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Trevor Sager.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Resolution 09-2025, support and financial commitment for Ellettsville Main Street Incorporated.
Yeah, this is just a letter of support and the endorsement by the town council for a new application for Main Street. And it's kind of a reconstitution after they changed leadership, and it was needed by the Main Street organization for us to support it. So,
What's the financial commitment portion of that?
I don't believe there is any. I don't know why they put that in there. It's in there, but there's no financial commitment.
If there's a financial commitment later, Scott, if the town partners with Main Street, a new resolution would have to be adopted. But this
Okay.
is just part of their application packet to belong to the Downtown Affiliate Network Program, so.
Okay.
The actual resolution in the packet says a resolution approving and endorsing Ellettsville Main Street's application to become a member of the affiliate. So there's no financial.
That's
in
why
there.
I'm asking
Yeah.
why we got one wording on one and one on the other.
That may have been a clerical error on my part. When I received it from the chamber and Main Street, that was the language on there at first, and I probably just didn't go back to
Okay.
update it. I apologize.
No worries. Any other further questions from council? Anything from the public? And back to the council.
I'll move to approve resolution 09-2025, endorsing Ellettsville Main Street's application to become a member of the Downtown Affiliate Network.
Second.
Motion second.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
motion passes.
An ordinance on first reading this evening is 2025-05 to amend the salary ordinance for 2025.
Yes, so I've presented this to the council on the first reading. The first part of it is going to be a bookkeeping change from fire inspector to fire marshal per the fire chief. And the second item is adding the deputy fire marshal with the rate to include the 2332 to 2410, which is the equivalent to a fireman's salary.
Okay. Council have comments on this since it's on first reading? Okay, that'll be posted for the public to look at, and will come back to us on the next meeting cycle. Moving to ordinances on second reading, the first is ordinance 2025-01, American Legal Supplement S16 adoption.
Yes, so if you'll remember at the first reading, this is an updating of the codes on American Legal. I'm hoping to do this quarterly at least, because we are having so many ordinances that are changing things. This was from 2021 through April of 2024.
Okay. Questions, comments from council? And anyone from the public? And back to council.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-01, the American Legal Supplement S16 adoption.
I'll second.
When you're
Scott
ready.
Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
motion passes.
Ordinance 2025-03 to establish a water loss policy.
Go ahead.
This was discussed at the last town council meeting, and the purpose of this is to allow customers who have an extreme water loss due to something that is not their fault, a water line break, it could be a plumbing failure. But anyway, if they have a loss that results in an excess of 50,000 gallons of the customer's average monthly consumption, this ordinance sets forth the procedure to allow the customer to go back to the town and ask the town for a credit on their bill. So the customer has to try to fix it, will have to prove to the Department of Public Works and the Utility Department that they did fix it. They have to prove that, that they fixed the reason for the water loss, show a repair bill or something of that nature, and then they have to submit an application within 30 days of the date they receive the bill that has the excess water loss recorded on it.
Okay. Questions from council? Comments? Questions or comments from the public? And back to the council.
I'll move to approve ordinance 2025-03 to establish a water loss policy.
Second.
When you're ready.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Sager,
Yes.
motion passes.
There is no old business. Under new business is the fire department requesting to promote one to captain.
Thank you. Bringing the name Travis Abrams to you tonight. Travis is just shy of 21 years with the town of Ellettsville and 13 years full-time. He has completed all of his required education for the rank of captain, testing and interviews. And I'm asking that you promote Travis Abrams from the rank of lieutenant to the rank of captain tonight. And he is with us tonight. Oh, front row right here.
Comments from council? Action from council.
Well, I was gonna say, just, the fact that Kevin's recognizing you is a big plus, and, thank you for being here. Thank you for all the stuff you've done, and I think that any promotions Kevin's not going to recommend lightly.
Looking for a motion?
I'm looking for motion.
All right,
I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the fire department's request to promote Travis Abrams to the rank of captain.
and I'll do a second.
Whenever you're ready.
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Trevor Sager.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Congratulations. Now we're going to move to the police department. Request, it says request to hire one full-time police officer. I think we're going to have an amendment on that from previous discussions, correct?
That's correct, for other supervisors' comments. That'd be
Let's just do it
okay?
now under this one if we can.
Do that, all right, we can do it in just a minute. Okay, this evening, I'd like to bring to your attention, we have a full-time candidate we're bringing to your consideration tonight due to one of our officers joining the military. We had two very qualified applicants doing this position. At this time, I would like to present to you Benjamin Muncie for the approval of full-time position. Ben, you want to come up? Ben comes to us from the Owen County Prosecutor's Office, where he works as investigator in that office. Ben also previously worked for the Spencer Police Department and was previously the lead pastor for Steinsville Church of Nazarene. Ben is a 2023 graduate of Indiana Law Enforcement Academy Tier 1 Basics course, where he was the recipient of the Herman Freed Award, and that's the top recruit of the class. That's quite an honor. Congratulations to that. Ben also holds a master's and bachelor's degree from Ball State University. Ben resides in Monroe County with his wife Carissa and their 7 children. I have 7 grandkids by one. If approved tonight, Ben will begin his full-time career with the police department starting tomorrow morning. Upon completion of the field training program, Ben will be assigned full-time to the patrol division. I'd ask for your approval.
Okay. Motions from council or questions?
A question, so this is replacing an existing vacancy, correct?
Yes.
Not a new position?
Yes.
Okay.
Motions?
So I'll make a motion to approve the police department request to hire a full-time police officer.
Second.
We ready?
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis.
Yes.
Trevor Sager.
Yes.
Motion passes. I, Benjamin R. Muncie,
I, Benjamin R. Muncie,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Town Code of Ellettsville,
and the Town Code of Ellettsville,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and diligently discharge
and diligently discharge
and perform my duties as Deputy Marshal
and perform my duties as Deputy Marshal
of the Ellettsville Police Department
of the Ellettsville Police Department
of Ellettsville, Indiana,
of Ellettsville, Indiana,
according to the law
according to the law
and to the best of my skill and ability,
and to the best of my skill and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard. Yeah. Congratulations.
You did get to speak. You did. Yes, you did.
On a second note on this, we are in a real scrape right now. We're very short. We have one of our full-time SROs that is being used in the crime unit, which takes him out of rotation. Matt Baker, are you here? Matt will be going to recruit school here in the next couple of months. So we need an extra unit. Our second candidate, and I won't call him second because he was second, because both candidates were quite qualified. My proposal is I'd like to hire a second unit to replace Sam Miller, who's in the high-tech crime unit. Our understanding is that the prosecutor is going to hire him full-time later this year, sometime in the summer or early winter. So I've talked to Noel, I've talked to Mike. Noel says we have the money if we need to do an additional appropriation to do this. So I'm requesting your permission to go ahead and hire Shannon Bunger as a full-time police officer for the Ellettsville Police Department.
Questions from council?
So again, this is not a new position, but a replacement of one?
Well,
Is it increasing your head count?
yes, it will.
Temporarily.
Okay, I mean temporarily, or kind of draw that out?
Temporarily, yes.
So next year, when we go budget, the reason I'm asking is not to single you out. As you probably know, and other people have known, local government's under a microscope right now from the state on every spending. And adding personnel right now isn't something I'm comfortable with, because I don't know what's gonna happen next year. If this is just where there's temporarily overlap, I'm good with. But if we're gonna come to create a new position, and then in budget time in a couple months say, we already have these officers, we've actually ended up creating a new budgeted position we have to fill, I can't support that. So I'm trying to find out what exactly are we doing?
We're replacing Sam Miller at the SRO at the junior high school.
Okay.
It does add a unit. However, that unit will be taken over by the prosecutor's office later this summer or early next year.
So ultimately, I mean, long-term, we're not
No.
solving the problem, getting you more officers.
Unless something falls through.
Right. As of right now. I mean,
Right, as of right now, that's
yeah,
correct.
It's okay.
So basically, and we wind up at the same point we are now. He's just got some real staffing crisis is
Right,
about to
just,
occur.
yeah, it's a stopgap where we're gonna double up under a very short term.
Right.
And unless, like you said, something
Something
happens.
falls through
And
on
then we
us.
can address that at budget time.
That's right, thank you, I appreciate that.
When do we anticipate the prosecutor's office taking that Sam Miller position then, I guess, off of our,
No later than 2026, but Levi Minnick thought sometime late this summer, early winter.
okay,
But he's got the problem of one going to the academy.
Right.
He's gonna be down.
needs the manpower?
Right.
We're at 65, 70% by ourselves anyway right now, let alone when Matt leaves and having one on limited duty, so we need some help.
And without this, we'd have gaps with the SRO program, correct?
Yes.
Without this.
Yes.
Well, you'd have to pick. You'd either have a gap on the street or a gap in the school.
Right.
So, yeah,
And we're contractually obligated to the school.
right.
And with filling some of the holes, we're using about 13% of our overtime budget each month right now. So this will put somewhat of a stop to that.
And what he's asking is he's hiring a fully capable officer right off the bat. So we're kind of
There's
short
no-
circuiting
yeah. I just don't want to create an ongoing
No.
obligation. It's not,
We
so.
get it. So in regard to that, is there further discussion? Is there a motion from council?
I'll make a motion to approve the police department's request to hire Shannon Bunger as a full-time police officer.
Second?
Scott Oldham,
Yes.
William Ellis,
Yes.
Trevor Saker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, I appreciate your support.
Thank you. No, it's all right. Now we move to privilege of the floor. Anyone having business for the council not on our normal agenda? step up to the mic, please. Identify yourself.
My name is Jim Perry, and I'm here about action the council took, I think at the end of October, which was to complete a sidewalk on Abigail. This is something I raised with the council about a year ago, or 18 months ago. But the sidewalk should have been put in 3 years ago. It's still sitting uncompleted. It's the one sidewalk on Abigail.
Okay. We'll have to check because I don't know.
Do you?
Sure.
So as you know, we were building the trail and trying to get as much in as we could before the asphalt plants closed. So I think it was December he came to my office and I told him we would look at it about March when the concrete plants opened, and I thought he was fine with that. But probably March, somewhere in there, we'll get it on the schedule to do. It appears that we're going to have to take some developers' bond money to do it.
Okay.
You know, let me raise a broader issue, and that is code enforcement. The fact that we're talking about this now 4 years after the property was completed and the sidewalk should have been put in is unacceptable. All the other homeowners in that neighborhood complied with the requirements and put in sidewalks in a timely way, or when they were asked if they hadn't put it in completely. So this is a broader issue, one that I raised with Councilor Ellis months ago when you were considering the
The UDO.
UDO. And it's a serious flaw in the code enforcement in the city or in the town. And if it's not fixed, there are lots of properties that are out of,
We did not cut that.
Just move the mic a little bit.
a lot of properties that are out of compliance with the codes, but they're not being enforced. And although we're putting a lot of effort into the redevelopment commission for a small slice of the town, we have large slices of the town that are being ignored.
And for the public, one of the conversations we had was that kind of, we have complaint-driven code enforcement, and what you're saying, that there's evidence that more, I don't know what the opposite of that would be, where you look for. Proactive, yes, that actually has better results. And Denise,
In the community, there's a large literature on this in the communities that succeed. You can go down the list of items, and the first thing is staffing, and we don't have the staff.
You're right.
But it would be a very low investment to provide the staff that would generate resources for the community, because it would improve the quality of the assessments in the town. It would pay for itself.
okay.
All right. Thank you so
Sorry,
much.
sorry about the microphone there. Denise, did you have anything to say?
I just wanted to,
I don't remember the March thing, or maybe we talked, and that was like 2 months ago, you said, but.
yeah, you came in and
Yeah,
I told you it'd
yeah.
be March, but the sidewalks that went in, what happened in that subdivision? The developer had new homeowners in their paperwork that they were to put the sidewalks in. However, our agreements with the developer,
Right.
not the homeowner, that's between them. So they did put one side in, and the homeowner did, but not the other, and that's what we've been concentrating on. So the developer did get the other homeowners to put their sidewalk in, but this one remains, and I've received no other complaints from that subdivision.
And what are your thoughts on like the different focuses of enforcement, one being complaint-driven and the other being proactive?
Well, proactive, we are, when we drive by and we see tall grass or something that's a safety issue. But complaint-driven, sometimes the bad part about that is you get in a war between neighbors. So it's, you know, it's good both ways, so. But we were instructed to be complaint driven.
Right. No, that, I know the council, that was kind of been
Yep. So
our,
we can focus on other things at this
Yep.
point.
But, you know, I have a staff of 3 now, so, one person's doing the code enforcement, so,
so we do have someone dedicated to that now?
yes.
Okay.
Anyone else having business for the council? Okay. Move now to supervisor comments, beginning with town manager.
I have nothing.
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to thank you for your support on the officers. You know, we worry about that. Mike and I have talked about that several times. The whole time he's been here, and this will help us to patch some of that void. But I want to also talk about the Parks Board. I have an applicant I'm going to submit to the Parks Board on March the 3rd, and I hope to submit it to the Town Board on March the 10th. It'll be the 5th member. We're down one member, have been for quite a while, but this will fill the board member out. Mike was telling me today that he wanted a full Parks Board here as soon as possible, and that's what we're going to do. So, and it is a D.
Okay, well, yeah. Yeah, you can say that loud. My concern with waiting till then is we may no longer have the authority to do that appointment then.
The board, you mean?
The council or the board, correct?
Okay.
Because state law says if it's vacant 90 days, it goes to the party chair.
Noel, can we schedule a Parks Board meeting earlier?
Well, you don't have to have a, isn't it appointed by? It's a council
is?
appointment,
Okay.
correct.
All right, I'll get it to you tomorrow then. I'll get the board members contacted and get it to you tomorrow, so.
Okay.
How are we in 90 days, though? I don't remember where we're at.
March 1st would be the drop dead date.
So we have one more meeting?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
very good. Thank you.
Over to you, Mr. Farmer.
I have nothing.
Okay, council comments.
Well, I do have a suggestion. As everybody is, I alluded to earlier, we've been having a lot of talk at the, we've been hearing a lot of talk at the State House about property taxes and reform. Now, the great thing is that looking through and listening with the governor says Ellettsville's in a pretty good position because we've already been keeping of this mindset that the taxpayers are not our piggy bank, and we've been limiting the increases from year to year. So we've already been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years. One of the things he did say, though, is that he's kind of calling local towns and cities and municipalities, show us your work. And I didn't know if it's something that the council would like or the supervisors, because I want to show what a really well-run town is like. Have an independent audit to show, look, we're not wasting money. This can be done. What's the other council members feel on that?
Beyond the State Board of Accounts?
Yeah, because the State Board of Accounts don't drill down to what the spending's on. They just drill down to.
Make sure it's
if
legal.
Yes.
I think a lot of it would be how much that costs,
Understand.
because that would not be fiscally responsible to prove a point if we are.
Well, if it could mean us getting more tax revenue, because we did show our work and show the need, you never know.
Is there a cost for it?
Oh, there definitely would be a cost.
We don't know what it is, though.
No, we'd have to,
I'd definitely entertain it depending upon the cost.
All right.
Mike, what's your thoughts?
Well, shouldn't be that. With everything that's going on at the State House, it seems that it's almost like there's a effort to hurt efforts to take care of your own town and to grow as you need to grow. And there's so much uncertainty. It's afraid, I think it's hard to make any bold moves or try to stay ahead of a problem, this, that, and the other. how we go about our business. We've been doing it for the last 25 years.
Right.
We take care of our own. We do a lot of our own capital projects. I mean, we've got a stack of for 25 years of the capital projects, and I'm talking about $3 million, the 46 project, our own water projects and sewer projects, storm projects we do in-house. It's very unusual. We could tell a story and maybe impress somebody, but it's what we're supposed to be doing anyway. So to go out of our way, to spend any extra money to try to prove something that is, I mean, it's fact anyway. It just does feel like, you know, I feel like somebody's shooting at my feet and saying dance, and I don't know. So I don't know. I never liked that. And if they would want to come down, if we had a delegation, or we could put together a meeting. I mean, the state treasurer is going to be here next Thursday. If we could have an audience and tell our story, perhaps we could be a template for what, you know, for the very thing that the governor is talking about. I mean, he just became the governor, but we've been doing this for 25 years. So I'd be glad to cooperate and elaborate with, you know, the right people, but I'm too busy to you know, to go out of my way to say, to prove that we're doing
And that's why a third party, I think, would even be better, because we can show them we have been doing this. We've been doing it successfully, growing our town, and these other places that are sitting there saying it's impossible and the sky's falling, well, the laws are directed towards people like that, not us. Because and I do agree it would depend on the cost. I mean, if an audit's gonna cost, you know, a couple $100,000, it's not fiscally responsible.
Well, I'd be worried about the third party if they could stay up with what we do. I mean, that sounds a little high and mighty, but we do not follow what's norm for towns. We've taken care of ourselves all this time. You know, we've just rolled up our sleeves and did our own business.
And I think that'd be great to
just like
promote.
with the police officer, you know, for once, we're going to try to get ahead of being behind as far as having enough police officers. And we have this chance to kind of hedge ahead for a little while until everything straightens back out. So I think to have somebody come in and evaluate how we go about our business, I'm fine with it. I mean, scrutiny adds to our reputation, but I don't know that I got time to.
I do have a question, I'm sorry. How's this different than what whoever we had do it a couple years ago to look at different funding priorities and everything else? How would that be different than what they came and did? Because they went through the entire budget trying to figure out where we were at, Baker Tilly or whoever it was that came in and did it. They went through everything, upside, downside, sideways, trying to squeeze every penny out of every dollar. So how would this audit be different, I guess?
Probably wouldn't be that different, just be more timely. And, you know, if that audit it still tells the same story, then I think that's a good story to tell.
We have an audit that we did internally, and we dropped off about 7 years ago. We quit doing it just because it was busy, but we audited the first since 98, 95, since we've been here, and we have an audit that has a lot of those numbers. Rick helped us work on it. Obviously, we was tooting our own horn, but apparently, according to our grandpa, if you don't toot your own horn, nobody's going to.
Exactly.
So we've went through this exercise. Yeah, I mean, I'd be glad to do it because I've always thought that the way the state funds things throughout for the small communities is upside down.
It is.
The people that need the money the most, the people that could build their infrastructure, help with their schools, and provide a place where people would want to move, would allow for people to move out of the bigger towns and into the smaller communities. And if that money was available to build the infrastructure, then people would come. If people comes in, you know, like a lot of the surrounding community or counties around Monroe County, that's where your workforce comes.
Right.
And if you have a workforce, then you can entertain economic development. But usually, the small communities get entangled in these financial commitments they have to make, whether it be engineers or studies, or even when you get grants to do trails and this, that, and the other, it turns out that it's too much money, and a small community can't take care of it because, you know, a lot of times it's a one-horse town, and they can't process it all. And so by the time you end up asking for help, all the money's been used up, and then there's nothing for a project. So I'm kind of getting off the subject
No,
here,
it makes sense.
But I mean, we're so busy all the time just doing our work that, you know, I've never thought about having somebody look and what we do, but I'm for it if you think it's warranted. But for me, it's just...
It's not necessarily warranted, like I think that we have a problem that needs to be found out. It'd be more warranted of when we got the governor saying that these problems aren't real and that all these small towns are spending money like drunken sailors or whatever and need to be reined in, that I mean, it wouldn't be probably enough for this bill, but that a one-size-fits-all solution is probably not the best.
I think
with all due respect, the problem is, we work in about 6 or 7 counties with the business.
Mm-hmm.
And we take care of, what, 20, 30 small communities? We've been doing this for about 25 years. So or longer, 30. And so for there to be a new theory that small communities are being wasteful, for me, it's kind of, will catch up with us. And I guess what you're saying is maybe they could learn from how we do our business.
Correct.
But it's upside down from the top down.
I don't disagree.
It's upside down. It's how the money's distributed. It's all the strings and all the necessities that go with any kind of project that moves into a town and said, hey, we'll give you this bunch of money, but you got to spend this to get it, and then give them that, and then they'll have to need that, and then there's nothing on the table anymore.
Right.
And so, I don't know.
Well,
We have a narrative already of what you're talking about. We had a Department of Public Works meeting amongst our supervisors, and the one thing I left with the meeting is I want to become a model for other communities of our size on how to govern. And we're not really deeply in debt as a community. I mean, some things have to be funded when you're talking about large buildings, but we've tried to fund them within our budget. And I think if you really dig deep into what we've done financially, it's pretty impressive.
Exactly.
well, and again, I guess the comment to address where this is going, or at least from my side, is the state of Indiana set up towns to fail. They set up towns, particularly small towns, to fail because of everything you're talking about. There's so many plus ones that have to be added before you can even get to where you need to go. And the fact that the way the governance has been set up and the allowances for the towns, let's be blunt, folks, while Ellettsville seems like a small town, when you look throughout the state, we're not.
Right.
When you look throughout the country, we're not. And we're succeeding in spite of some of the restrictions that have been placed on us just by the way the law is set up. You know, I mean, there is no day-to-day governance for a town. There's every 2-week governance for a town. And that just doesn't usually get the job done effectively, but yet here's Ellettsville succeeding.
Correct.
So, you know, again, I think your idea is great. I'm just concerned about how much money are we spending to prove our point that, look, we're alive still, even despite all that the hurdles that have been sent to us.
Noel, do you know if there's any state programs that offer anything like this?
I can look into
it. I do know that the State Board of Accounts, speaking with other clerk treasurers around the state, the chances of us getting an actual State Board account audit with me being a new clerk is probably smaller than normal in the past with the previous clerk, Sandy, being an established clerk. I will probably get an outside auditing company that will come in and do a forensic audit that you're talking about, just because I am a new clerk and it's a new term, so.
Do you know when we'd know? Because I mean, if we have to pay for that and we're obligated, it'd be kind of dumb for us to pay for it twice if.
Yeah,
the
and
state-
I mean, if I had to guess, I would say if we're not getting notification sometime this year, it would definitely be in 26.
I would almost venture to guess the next few months we'll know if we're gonna have it this year or
Okay.
not.
So-
Because usually when they're coming in, it's March, April to.
This was just a topic discussion, no vote or any, I mean,
No.
just kind of one of those things that,
And again, think it's a great idea.
Right.
But if it costs us 10 grand, that's turnout gear for firefighters. Or
Right.
that's this for that. Or
And
for
I
whatever
could
else.
say reasonably, we are looking at about 10,000, because if you look at the past State Board of Accounts, I mean, even the federal small audit that we had for the COVID was like 5,600, so.
but if we're gonna have to pay for a detailed one from the state, probably anyway, it would be it would be smart of us to pay for our own. The state's not gonna take that anyway, they're still gonna wanna do their own. We're still gonna have to pay the state, so let's just, I mean,
Depending upon, again, let's not double cost ourselves.
right, that's what I'm saying.
So, yeah, let's
So let's hold off
just
on
see where
this
it's
to see
at.
what the state,
Yeah.
because.
Again, I think the idea is great,
Okay,
but it's, what is that $10,000, $15,000? Is there a better use
Right.
for it?
and Jeff, to talk about the narrative, I agree we have a great narrative, but that's all Braun and the State House has been seeing. What they're not seeing is hard numbers.
Well,
And,
but I think here we can provide hard
Oh,
numbers.
no, we can,
Because in
but-
the last decade, you have a new town hall,
Mm-hmm.
finishing up a new fire department, finishing up a new police department. I mean, again, look at all the hard assets that we've purchased
Mm-hmm.
in that last 10 years comparatively. And you're right, and to not sing our praises, to sing these people's praises. They're getting it done day to day, every day within the budget
With a
set
lot
for them.
less than-
With a lot less, and yet you turn around looking and it's here.
Yeah, the narrative I'm speaking of has the nuts and bolts and the
right,
figures and
okay,
all that
good.
stuff in it.
Yeah, I just saw some of the bigger cities up north, they're talking, they spent like 30 minutes saying nothing. I think you know the conversations that I'm talking about. And you can see the governor and his staff, their eyes just, that's when he's like, show me. And I think
I think I could walk around and show him,
and I think he'd like that.
here's this new, here's this new, here's this new, and it's all paid for.
It's just unfortunately they see those people up in those donut counties all the time, and I think they assume all of us operate the same way, and we don't.
Well, excuse me if I get a little riled up about the whole thing, but,
You're not.
it would really be nice if I'd love to be involved where we had an audience with anybody from the state, and we talked about this over and over again. When Governor Holcomb sent down some of their black SUVs one time with people to come down and see how we're doing our business, that's all we talked about. And so they had no idea that, we struggle like we do. And so, I don't know. I'd love to have an audience and talk about this in detail, but to do a study, I don't know if anybody'd read it.
Or if it even would make the standout things that you guys have accomplished truly stand out. They would just be check boxes. So, we'll revisit this later,
Yeah,
maybe
so
with
it's
some
not
harder
like a
numbers.
Are you going Thursday?
Gotta refresh my memory with.
Okay, state treasurer's coming Thursday?
Oh,
to
yes,
town
yes,
for-
yes.
Maybe we can corner the state treasurer.
One of the big things they offer is Trust Indiana, that they're really pushing now to help a lot of small towns, I guess, with the interest rates is.
Mike and I've had this discussion, as soon as some of our CDs, and I've talked with People's State Bank, so that I didn't want to pull money to invest it in Trust Indiana, but when some of our CDs come up for renewal, we're gonna move just a little bit over there.
So you'll bring us something to evaluate on that?
Yes, sir.
You know, Scott's right, we're not a small town. I mean,
No.
I think we're ranked 14th biggest town in Indiana, 18th, something like that. I mean,
I know we're the
didn't
second
believe it,
biggest in
but if you
Monroe.
look it up.
I was kind of shocked at where we were,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah, so there's a lot of towns that are a lot more, in dire need of this, that, and the other, and how they go about their business.
Well, and quite honestly, I think everybody, but particularly this county, took a real beating on the last census. We did not
Yes.
have a good census number. There's just simply no way when you build all these homes and these apartments and everything else in this county, and your county numbers go down. No, that doesn't equate.
That
and-
might be worth spending some money on, but
It
By-
won't, that
even a
won't matter.
census
By the
costs
time you
like
change it.
20 or 30,000. You'd be lucky if you break even with any.
But Scott's right, they wouldn't change it, we could give them all the data.
Oh, it'd take you 2 years to be done with it, and
Yeah.
even then, now you're sitting on top of another census within.
Yeah, yeah.
2
They would
years
just
of
say,
that.
wait to,
Yeah. They wouldn't accept it, they did, unless you could get the federal government to come do it, and, yeah,
on
no.
that.
So,
I guess I'm against spending money to prove that we don't spend money.
Wouldn't it be funny if we did that and the only thing they hit us for is why'd you waste money on this?
That'd be my luck.
any other comments from council? Sorry, were you done?
Oh, I'm done, yeah.
Okay, seeing nothing else before the council this evening, we remain adjourned.